Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to today's episode of How You're Getting Effed. I'm your host, Louis Rossman. This is a bipartisan channel, which means that whether you're getting effed by somebody with a D next to their name or an R next to their name, I don't care. I'm here to tell you how you're getting effed and who's doing the effing. I don't care one way or the other. I just don't like people that do that. Today we're going to be talking about internet service providers, how things used to be, how they changed, and how they're going back. How many people here like having a shitty internet service provider that has things like caps, slowdown, random downtime? How many people like having no competition, so you are forced to use that one shitty ISP that has random downtime, shitty data caps, and overall sucks? How many people watching this think it's a good idea that an internet service provider can essentially bribe a landlord through revenue sharing agreements to have these bulk billing arrangements whereby every tenant is forced to pay for internet from that shitty internet service provider, even if they don't want to? If you didn't raise your hand for any of those, that's because you have a functioning brain and you do not want to get fucked. Welcome to Drain the Swamp. We are less than 2 weeks in and this is going to be a fun 4 years. It used to be that if you had an apartment complex, not only could you force tenants to pay for internet from one provider that they don't like by including it in their rent and force them to pay for it, but you could also enter a revenue sharing agreement with that provider, which means that provider could just come up to a landlord and say, I will give you this much money to force all your tenants to pay for our shitty internet. That was the thing. They could do that. Now, technically, the landlord cannot stop another provider from wiring the building. That being said, if I'm another competing provider, why am I going to wire your building when your tenants are all forced to pay for shitty internet? Because you may want to use somebody else's internet if you don't have to pay for the one you have. But if you're already paying $70 a month for your shitty internet, and I come along with $90 internet that's better, it's going to be worth maybe additional $20 a month if you could drop your old internet. But if you're forced to pay for your old internet, then you're probably not going to want to pay $90 on top. You might just curse, grit your teeth, and deal with the fucking Spectrum downtime and the drop frames and all your goddamn board repair streams that I dealt with when I was paying $409 a month for business internet at 186 First Avenue. That's right. Drop frames, every stream, streaming at 5 megabit per second off a $409 a month internet. People wonder why I was salty about that. Let's read up on some of these changes, how things were, and how they are going to be now as we drain the swamp. This is something that came out, I think like a year ago or something, and it was talking about junk fees, credit card fees, things like that. And it said members also discussed new actions to promote competition among internet providers and in agricultural markets. So let's just read some of these new rules. And take a look over here. This was from the FCC chairwoman, and she says everybody deserves to have a choice of broadband provider. That's why it is not right when your building or apartment complex chooses that service for you, saddling you with unwanted costs and preventing you from signing up for the plan and the provider you really want. The notice of proposed rulemaking would propose banning bulk billing arrangements by which tenants are required to pay for broadband, cable, and satellite service provided by a specific communications provider, even if they do not wish to take the service or would prefer to use another provider. It proposes allowing tenants to opt out of bulk billing arrangements. Bulk billing is the fact that the landlord can say, all of you, all the tenants, the bulk of the tenants, have to pay for this shitty internet provider, even if they don't want it. The one that's the most interesting is the 2022 rules that prohibit broadband providers from entering into certain revenue sharing agreements with the building owner. This is the bribery here. This is where I, as Time Warner, can say, I will give you 10% of the gross sales if you force our shitty internet down your tenants' throats. That's bribery. That means that I suck. I realize that I cannot compete. I'm a fucking horrible ISP. The only way that I can compete is by literally forcing myself on other people. Do you understand why I use that R word a lot, that Eula-roofy language when I'm talking about what these companies do nowadays? Because they don't care about consent. They don't care whether you want to say yes or no. They don't care if their internet is good or you want to pay for it. Fuck you, pay me. I don't want your internet. I don't want to pay for it. I don't want to use it. Fuck you, pay me. It's a disgusting attitude. I should be allowed to opt out. I should not have to force fucking feed my money to people that are shit at providing broadband service. Let's read how this has changed now. Chairman Carr stops costly regulatory overreach. January 27, 2025. On January 24th, 2025, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr ended the Commission's consideration of a 2024 Biden-Harris administration proposal that sought to regulate so-called bulk billing arrangements. These bulk billing programs have enabled families living in apartments and other multi-tenant environments to pay lower prices for internet service. Today, Chairman Carr issued the following statement. During the Biden-Harris administration, the FCC leadership put forward a bulk billing proposal that could have raised the price of internet service for Americans living in apartments by as much as 50%. This regulatory overreach from Washington would have hit families right in their pocketbooks at a time when they were already hurting from the last administration's inflationary policies. That no mention of that like $5 trillion that just got shit out during April of 2020, but whatever. This is why you saw a broad and bipartisan coalition of groups opposing this plan, aka lobbyists for the telecoms who don't want to compete, and the cable companies. After all, seniors, students, and low-income individuals would have been hit particularly hard. There was a lot of work ahead to reverse the last administration's costly regulatory overreach, and I'm glad to take a step in the right direction by ending the FCC's consideration of a Biden-era plan that would have artificially raised the cost of internet service. Now, you can argue that they are going to charge people more money in that building if they can't get everybody. When you are buying in bulk, if somebody wishes to buy 20 hot air rework stations from me, they're going to get a lower price than if they want to buy 1 or 2. That being said, in my opinion, when it comes to something like internet service providers, which have been notoriously shit in the history of our country, I think having more choice is more important than it being cheaper. Right now, it's not like we're swimming in competition. The absolute TLDR of this, because there's always somebody from like fucking Romania or something that's like, look at how fast and cheap our internet is. And like, Romania is like this big, and America is this big. It's very hard to wire a country where a lot of people are rural. 90 years ago, this decision was made. I like TLDR of it, whether you like it or whether you hate it. The whole way that this worked to get everybody wired for telephony and cable was you get a regional monopoly. In exchange, you have to wire everybody here. You can't do this bullshit where you say it's not profitable to wire those people. You want the regional monopoly, you got to wire everybody. Whether you think it's a good idea or not, that is the system that we were all born into, which means that in many parts of the United States, you may only have 2 choices for internet. And they may both suck. It's just a question of which sucks less. We're not exactly swimming in choice over here as it is, so to have rules come out that decrease the choice even more really fucking sucks. Let's be real. If they're allowed to force themselves on you and they're allowed to bribe landlords again to have their service, they're going to keep fucking you. They're not going to make this shit cheaper. How many people here have gotten an email from fucking Comcast or Verizon or Time Warner saying, thanks to this new regulation, it's actually cheaper for us to provide you internet now, so we will be giving you a coupon for $10. That doesn't happen. That doesn't fucking happen. That's not a thing. That's a meme. This is not going to actually make anything better for you. What it does is it allows the internet service provider to force you to pay for internet that you do not want against your will. You're not allowed to say no. You take the end user license agreement roofie, as I like to call it in many of these videos. I'm going to try and make an analogy here because there's all this stuff in the news from the FAA on the DEI stuff and everything else. And to be clear, like, I'm not the type of person, I'm just going to put my bias out there up front. I'm not the type of guy that wants to go to a forced work seminar where I'm forced to hold my breath longer than my coworkers who are minorities so I can understand their pain. But I also think it's complete fucking bullshit to blame everything. Like, oh, a plane crash must be DEI. But I was able to kind of get something through here to somebody that I was speaking to earlier yesterday. And I have friends everywhere on the spectrum. I got friends that are on the the anarcho-socialist type of people that live in Bushwick, Brooklyn. I got the hyper MAGA head people. My life has a lot of sprinkles of all different types of interesting people. People on that spectrum, this spectrum, on the spectrum, using spectrum. Using spectrum is the worst, by the way. I never considered being on the spectrum to be an insult for myself until Time Warner rebranded. I'll see myself out. There's a really interesting analogy for this. I don't usually comment on a lot of this news shit, but I think that this is a good instance because I was having a conversation with somebody a day or two ago, and I always try to meet people where they are when it comes to this. And one of the conversations that I started having with the MAGA head friend is I was trying to think of a way to explain this. And I just thought all this stuff in the news is bullshit, but you know what? Maybe I could just plant a seed here. That's all I want to do is plant a seed. And I said, you like meritocracy. You think we should have a meritocracy, right? So why are you happy with DEI for the internet? Because it's not even about my opinion on it. Like, fuck what I think. He thinks that this is bad because he's bought into all this shit on the news about how fucking planes are crashing because of DEI. Like, why do you want DEI for the internet? And he's like, huh. I'm like, I planted a seed. But in all seriousness, I find this very, very amusing that I'm reading in the news every single day about meritocracy, all this DEI stuff being bad, from the same people that appointed somebody that is okay with an internet service provider that sucks forcing their shitty service down people's throats and bribing landlords to force the tenants to pay because their stuff is that fucking bad. That's what a meritocracy looks like. Drain the swamp? Drain my balls, bro. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. This is not meritocracy. This is people that can't compete because they suck. Bribing landlords so that they can force people to have shitty service. This is not meritocracy. This is bullshit. This is the spoils system, which also just so happens to mirror something else. This is one of the things that I talk about on this channel. It's what I talked about in the Linus video for an hour, not accepting the premise of assholes. Brendan Carr doesn't care about a meritocracy for people. You don't even believe in a meritocracy for the fucking internet. Don't DEI my internet and then complain about DEI everywhere else. It's all bullshit. It's a propagandistic smokescreen to get you to ignore the shit that actually fucking matters. And it works. It works so well. How many people have emailed me about this? Nobody that I know. XPYR is like the one fucking dude and one other guy in Discord. I've been hearing about the rest of this non-fucking stop constantly. It works. It's a smokescreen. Get you to worry about this shit. So that you just don't notice how much you're getting fucked in every other area of your life. The FCC commissioner points to like censorship stuff as he dissents on one-click cancel and completely fucks you in the ass. It's like, just because somebody's giving you a kiss on the neck doesn't mean that you should ignore when they're fucking you in the ass. Louis Rossman for president. That's going to be my bumper sticker slogan. Louis Rossman for FTC chair. And everybody here is fucking fighting over DEI in the sky when a white helicopter pilot from Mississippi is who started the program. This is like the anti-Trump version of who built the cages. Who built the cages? This is one of the things I love about archive.org, by the way. One of the things I love about archive.org, whether it's DCS batteries or bamboo or whatever the hell else, man, it is so easy to call people on their shit when you can just go to archive.org. Literally all you got to do is go to archive.org. Archive.org. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. Regardless of who you vote for, make sure you hold them accountable and responsible when they do some stupid shit. Because people that you like and people that you vote for can often do some stupid shit. You can hate me for being the messenger. I'll tell you.